Hi guys, and welcome back to JavaScript Playground. In this video, we will learn how to add and remove classes from HTML elements. The modern browsers give us access to a property called class list. This class list holds all the classes of an HTML element, and to add a new class to this class list, we can use the method add. So the syntax is selected element dot class list dot method add, and this add method, it accepts a class name. So let's give it a try. Say we have this text add remove classes, and if you see the HTML element, it has a class small. And if we check the style page, so we have a class small and we have a class big. So for the big, font size is 48 pixels. For small, font size is 24 pixels. Let's bring it a little to the left. All right, let's bring our code editor here. So before we can perform any operation, first we need to select this element. So let's do that. Say main heading. So document.get element by ID. Let's give it an ID. Say main heading. Let's copy it, paste it here. Now we've selected this element and we can perform operations. So what we want to do is we want to get the class list. So let's say class list. Let's try printing it in the console first. Let's save it, come in here. And as you can see, it's a list and it has just one element, small. So if I add another class here, say random class, let's save it. And now this list has two elements. The first is small, second is random class. So it contains a list of all our classes. So let's remove this for now. Come in here. All right, so now we have access to this class list, and it gives us access to a method called add. We can use this method to add another class. So let's say big. Let's save it. And as you can see, this element just got bigger because we've added two classes. So first is small and then it's big. And if you see the sequence over here, so first is small and second is big. So this big overrides the small properties. All right. Similarly, to remove a class, it provides us another method called remove. So let's add a timeout. So just like interval, JavaScript has another method called timeout. So after a certain time duration, it triggers a function. So we can add an anonymous function here, and it accepts a duration. Let's say 1500 milliseconds. That means 1.5 seconds. So after 1.5 seconds, select the main heading, get the class list, and call this remove function. And again, this remove function accepts a class name which needs to be removed from the list. So let's say big. So now what will happen here is, first, this main heading will get a class big, and then after 1.5 seconds, that class big will be removed. So let's save it. And as you can see, after 1.5 seconds, this went back to the normal size. Similarly, if you wanted to add and remove this class on a button click, we could do something like this. So first we have to select the button. So let's say btn document.get element by ID. So the ID of the button is btn click. So let's select that. So now we have access to this button and we can add an on-click listener. So btn.add event listener. So add event listener accepts two arguments. First, the type of event, so click, and then it accepts a function which needs to be called whenever this event occurs. So let's pass it here. So instead of here, let's just move it here. All right, let's save it. And now when I click this button, it should go back to small size. And if I keep clicking, nothing happens because it's already small and we're trying to remove a class which does not exist in this class list. So nothing is happening. All right, so time for some bonus exercise. So if I reduce my size and bring it to a mobile screen width, we see this hamburger icon. And if you see here inside the nav bar, we have a sidebar, which has a class hidden. And if you make it show, it shows us this sidebar. So what we want to do is on this button click, toggle whether we want to show the class or we want to hide it. All right. So coming back here. First, we need to select this element. So sidebar. So coming here, var, say sidebar, so document dot get element by ID, sidebar element. Similarly, we need access to this hamburger icon. So let's give an ID here. Say menu toggle, or let's say toggle icon. Let's copy it, paste it here. So var toggle button. So document dot get element by ID. And now we have access to this hamburger icon as well. And what we want to do is on this hamburger click, we want to change the class. So what we want to do is we want to add a new class to the sidebar. So sidebar dot class list dot add and show. So if we see our index thesis file, so we've got two classes here. On show, we make it display block and we translate it 270 pixels towards the right hand side. And on hide, we make display none and we translate it to the left hand side by 270 pixels because the width of our sidebar is 270 pixels. All right. So let's not get into the details of stylings here. So when I save it and I click this button and nothing happens. Let's see why is that. So coming here. So right now we've got both the classes as you can see here. So the sidebar has both hide and show. First, the styles of show class are added and then the styles of hide class are added. So that's why we don't see our sidebar. So if we change the sequence, it should work. So let's refresh it. All right, so when we click on this button, we get our sidebar. Now if we click again on this button, nothing happens. So what we want is we want the sidebar to go. So coming here, now we need a way to check whether this class is already present inside the class list or not. So for that, we have another function, which is called contains. So let's try that. So if my sidebar dot class list dot contains, so this contains again accepts a class name and it checks whether that class name is in the class list or not. Say show. Let's expand this a bit. So what we're doing here is we're checking if show is a class for sidebar or not. So if it is present in the class list, this returns true and we go here. So what we want to do is we want to remove it. So class list dot remove show, and we need to add the class hide. Similarly, for else condition, it would be the reverse. So if the sidebar does not contain show, then we need to add it and we need to remove the hide. Let's save it. So coming back here, let's click on this button. So it shows us the sidebar, and when we click again, it hides it. So we've got this nice toggle based on changing the class. All right, so just a quick FYI. So this class list property is supported only by modern browsers. It is not available in Internet Explorer 9 and below. Let me know in the comment section if you would like to know how to add and remove classes in Internet Explorer 9 and below. That's a wrap for today, guys. I hope this gave you a better understanding of how to add and remove classes. But if you have any doubts or queries, feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to me on Twitter. I'll add my Twitter handle in the description below. See you in the next video. Bye and take care.